All right, everybody, I have a question. It's very important.
I'm listening.
Are you ready? Okay. How do you feel about Gary Busey on all fours wearing a collar in a dog kennel?
I feel like I've learned a lot about myself and a lot about God.
And friendship. Welcome to Rough Cuts, everyone.
Rough Cuts is what? Where am I? Who am I?
So, yeah, I suppose that we have a wonderful new guest here today. We have Denny Dalliance.
Hi, I'm Gary Busey's son, Denny Dalliance.
Yes.
You may know me from such films as Quigley 2, The Reckoning, and Quigley 3, Revengeance. I was invited by my friends onto this podcast to watch Gary Busey pretend to be a dog for 90 minutes.
At 8 in the morning.
At 8 in the morning.
How's that
With a Four Loko.
I'm at about Dos Loco right now.
Dos Loco. Oof.
I was even thinking, if we do this early in the morning, we can't drink to it, which was a downside, and then you just blew that out of the water, and you did it anyway.
Yeah, of course I did. I didn't know what I was in for. I didn't know you were going to abuse me. I've been invited on podcasts before, right? I have been invited on podcasts before. I have declined. This is the first podcast I've ever done. Ever.
Oh, that was a big mistake, Fred.
Yeah, you fucked up.
And you gave me Gary Busey on all fours, in a collar, looking up at an angel that looks like Sheldon from Big Bang Theory.
Yes, we
Bazinga.
did.
I wrote a page and a half of notes, which I'm going to have to set on fire, and then I will have to spread the ashes.
The movie... Let's talk about Quigley.
Let's start.
Everybody loves Quigley.
Yeah.
God, I love
So
this
at the
movie.
beginning of the movie,
It's a
we are
Flash animation.
introduced to our favorite character, Gary Busey.
No, before that, we have a Flash animation slideshow.
Right!
This film opens on a 2001 Newgrounds.com Flash animation slideshow about a dog that just goes places and does God knows what. It's just still images done in Flash or MS Paint. It could have been MS Paint.
I was going to say, it was done in MS Paint and imported into Flash.
Right. Yeah.
That's what
And
happened, yes.
a dog in still frames doing nothing is a pretty good representation of the film that we were waiting to watch, to be fair.
It set up everything in the movie perfectly.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would have paid a lot of money for an MS Paint drawing of Gary Busey, though. Considering Gary
wish that they'd done
Busey,
that.
Gary Busey already looks like an MS Paint drawing of a person.
So Gary Busey is the main character of the film, obviously. We're introduced to him. He sees a dog out of the corner of his eyes. He's getting out of his rich man car. So he goes running after the dog because he hates dogs.
This is literally the first piece of film
like 2
in front of
seconds
our
in the film,
front of
right?
our eyes. It's breakneck. He
and
jumps
it
out of a
zooms
car.
Yeah, it
chases
zooms in
a
on
dog.
this huge piece of dog shit.
Rack focus
Next
onto
to
the shit.
dog, yes.
Yeah. And then Gary Busey goes running right into it, slips, and falls flat on his ass, covering his whole back in dog shit. And that's our introduction to Gary Busey, which I think is an apt introduction to Gary Busey in general.
Yeah, Gary Busey's stunt double falls and eats shit.
So yeah, he falls on it, and it's just to establish he hates dogs, and then he asks his butler friend guy to execute the dog.
I need you to
Literally
execute this dog!
Yeah. Yeah.
2 seconds in. After Gary Busey
Orders
tells
the
his
execution
friend
of a
to
dog.
execute a dog in
Decides
the worst way possible.
he decides to go on vacation.
Does he?
Yeah, I think that's he just gets in his car for which his license plate says.
He also talks to Booger from Revenge of the Nerds, though, right?
Yes.
Before that?
He
'Cause
talks.
we're introduced to Booger. That's an important plot point.
Yeah, he
talks-
talks to Booger about
his
the
Dexter.
executing the dog.
This character's name is Dexter. It's his business partner and lackey.
It will always be Booger from Revenge of the
It's
Nerds.
Booger,
I don't
I'm
care what they
sorry.
call him.
No, it doesn't matter. It's
For
still
the
Booger.
for the sake of podcast listeners who cannot see this sweaty, curly-haired man, this
35-year-old man. Remember.
this 35-year
Quote, unquote.
this 100 pounds of man in a 150-pound suit named Dexter, who's just the stooge. He's the He's the Bob Marley from Christmas Carol, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love Bob Marley.
so they have a business meeting in which he says, like, slash benefits, kill all the employees, like, just generic bad businessman, like,
replace
we're
all the
gonna
donuts
launch
in
them
the...
all of a cannon into the sun, like, I hate all... Grab a bunch of puppies and kill them in front of the employees to motivate them. It's that kind
Just
of
like
thing.
Amazon headquarters.
Replace their 401ks with Fitbits.
Yes. Oh.
I'm sorry, hang
Mandatory
on.
tracking collars
I'm
on
sorry.
all employees.
My job title used to have manager in it once upon a time. I know how this goes.
Unfortunately, yeah, that actually is... Yours became too accurate to real life. We don't like to do that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was that too real for this? It's everyone. It's all right. It's going to turn out at the end. This podcast was all just a dream.
So yes, Gary Busey goes on vacation in his rich guy car.
Yeah,
and a
Right after
dog,
the meeting, yeah.
which I assume is demonic in nature, just stands in the middle of the street.
well, he pops a CDR into his CD player for a second. That's important to know.
true.
He pops a CDR, which is his own voice, giving like a shareholders presentation where he's discussing how he's gonna slash benefits and how, like, I'm gonna do a bunch of evil stuff. And let me tell you, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna find our animal control policy on our company campus is about to become a lot more strict.
Yeah.
And it's the most mustache twirling evil shit I've ever heard.
And he's got it in his rich guy car. The reason why we say it's a rich guy car is because the license plate on it literally is rich guy. And it's like this Corvette or something. And I just like to point out that the CD player that he has in this car is the same CD player that I bought as broke-ass student for my 1994 Chevy Nova. So, yeah, that was great. And he just pops this thing and he's listening to it, just chilling to tunes of himself, talking about how evil he's going to be. When
like you do.
demonic, tiny little, like, Pomeranian is
It
in
is
the
a
road.
Pomeranian, yeah.
And and he has this... Even though he hates dogs, he just randomly decides to swerve out of the way of
He
this
swerves
dog
hard out of the way
Yeah.
of Quigley, the Harbinger.
and dies. Quigley, Harbinger of Doom,
Yeah.
kills him, and he goes to heaven.
Yeah.
And
Well, okay, hold on. You say heaven.
He goes to a
Let's-
Kmart photo center.
Let's clear this up right now. That is not heaven.
it is
That is a
it's
rec room in the back of a church.
It's a high school play set of heaven with, like, cotton stuffing is like the background.
It's literally
Clouds.
it's literally a white plaster archway on the right. Four multi-ethnic and multi-gender angels. All
Very
You
important,
can tell
yes,
they're
yeah.
angels because they're holding their hands in front of themselves beatifically. To our left, we have a couch draped in a white cloth because
Well,
after
they needed a place to sit.
they needed
Yeah.
to put Gary Busey on furniture, and they didn't want
He
to
wasn't
do
gonna
it.
stand.
The furniture was a rental, and if you put Gary Busey on furniture,
They can't return that. You can't.
no, there's not enough.
It's been
They saw him in the leather collar and the leash, and they were like, "Hey, listen, this couch has to be covered." You know,
yeah,
You
there's
can't just
there's
do
not
whatever
enough.
you want with it.
They do not make a Busey strength Scotch guard. I'm sorry.
But I want to point out, it's not fair to say that it was covered in a sheet. Because it was covered, they didn't have a sheet big enough for the couch, so they had multiple sheets, and,
those
like,
two.
one of them is just kind of half falling off. Like, it's incredible how well designed this is. And it's especially incredible when you realize afterwards, as we found out, that Gary Busey himself designed the set for this. Which, it does
that
a lot
explains
of explaining,
it.
I guess.
Gary
Yeah.
Busey
Yeah.
moonlights as a set designer.
Yeah.
Part of his spoilers ahead of time. This is a Christian film. It was it was produced by a Christian film production company, and I suspect that this maybe was part of some kind of community service that Busey had
That
to do.
might explain all the fetishes that we'll run into later, to be honest.
You know, I
Those
hadn't
Christians are freaky.
I hadn't put those two together in my head, but it would explain all the whips in that book they're always reading.
So, okay, we're introduced to the angels in the heaven.
Yeah, we have
Tell
our
Gary Busey that he's an asshole.
we have our
and
Greek
that-
chorus, right? We have our
Yeah.
people who will we assume will cut back to them and they'll like opine on events.
I guess?
No, we'll see them one more time.
Well, that's because they assign him a guardian angel, which is Mormon Pee-wee. What's the secret word, kids? Gary Busey! Yell real loud whenever you hear Gary Busey.
Yeah, whenever you see Gary Busey, yell real loud and call for an adult.
Thanks, Mormon Pee-wee.
Oh, that goes to the end of this film. We're skipping ahead because that's the last scene.
It's not a spoiler to say that
where they're shielding small children from Gary Busey's cave.
It's not a spoiler to say that you should live in fear of Gary Busey.
That's true.
In current year, remember those clown sightings a few years ago? Gary Busey.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, they all yell at Gary Busey about how bad he is, and then suddenly there's a mirror on the one side beside the couch that he looks in at first and adjusts his, like, tie and stuff, and he sits on the couch. Oh, I want to make this very clear. So they're yelling out, like, all the various sins that he's done, and they're like, oh, you were, like, bad to your brother, and you were all these kinds of things, like...
You were mean to employees.
They could have set that up. They could have maybe set that up in the, beginning of this film, but no. We're 4 minutes in. They didn't need to bother doing any of that.
This movie could have had an Act 1 instead of 3 Act 2s.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true.
Yeah, so it doesn't bother setting any of that up, so they just tell you why he's a bad person. And they're reading off all these things that he's done. And as he's sitting on the couch, this dog appears next to him for no reason. The same dog that he was going to run over on the road, so I assume the next car hit that dog.
That's
why it went to heaven.
Using a Spirit of Halloween smoke machine.
That's true.
Yes. And he, awkwardly crab walks away from it. And then the angels, who were reading it off in a very, kind of bland way, they're like, oh, well, you're kind of bad to your brother and things. Then they, open gasp and horror, and they go, does he not like dogs? The worst sin of all? Which, I mean, to be fair, I agree, but it was great, because he's like, no, I hate dogs. And they're like, well, we've got your punishment then. And immediately he's transformed into a dog and goes back in front of the mirror and looks in it, and he's now Quigley the dog. And then Oz Perkins creepily pulls out a dog collar.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yes.
Very slowly and erotically, and it just hard cuts away.
Why
from
is
that.
everything
That's
done erotically in this
It's
movie?
really
Yeah.
It's really done for eroticism. It's pretty incredible.
I didn't get... Boyce, did you get an erotic read from that? Because I didn't.
You can't turn this on. Don't you make this about me. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. I need to go back to the regular footage and find everybody talking about this, because that was a real slow cut with a very long look from Oz. That's
why
not
do you
just
keep saying it that way? That's really weird. Anyways, after that, there's a sharp cut to Starfleet Academy.
Yes.
Yes.
We get a fade back into... Gary Busey's company headquarters, which is filmed on location at Bill and Ted's school and Starfleet headquarters in San Francisco.
Yeah,
it's
the same
no
time.
joke. That is exactly what this set is.
It is the set.
Actually, the same building.
Filming on set at the Japanese Gardens in LA. We looked it up and figured out what this place was called. Missed it for now.
Benway Gardens.
Yeah.
So this is a video game company, right? Too, it's a technology.
It's a tech company.
Yes.
At some point, someone asks the Dexter character, "Hey, what do y'all do here?" And he goes, "Well, we do." And someone interrupts him. It's the writers don't know what Busey was doing at this company.
They know that they were making a virtual reality CD-ROM and a triple joystick game.
Triple joysticks to be playing in every home in America.
Triple joysticks?
Triple joysticks?
The third one does not go in your hand. They specifically say, it's like, yeah, this virtual reality CD-ROM has gone missing, is what they say. Presumably it's a CD-ROM that, was in Busey's possession? At some point, but it's not the same CDRW that he puts into his CD player on the road.
CDRW? Yeah.
No, it's not the same one.
No, which makes that very confusing for this movie, who has multiple MacGuffins happening.
So, speaking of MacGuffins, right?
Boyce, I'm so sorry. As a newcomer to this podcast, I have to say we are 8 minutes into the movie.
That's okay, we've been talking for 15.
There's a flash animation slideshow. Gary Busey ordered the execution of a dog. He went on vacation, listened to his own voice, was killed, went to heaven, met a guardian angel and 4 angels, talked to God, lost a virtual reality CD-ROM. It's Dexter's 35th birthday, and we are 8 minutes in. At this point,
time to slam on the brakes, because now we've realized that we don't have enough film, so be prepared for that to go slower.
I'm writing notes so fast that I begin to produce curls of smoke from my paper.
Don't worry, all of your notes are invalid because nothing in this movie matters.
Yeah, none of it matters. It's fine. So there are 3 things that Gary Busey has to do
as a dog
to redeem himself as a dog. He has to make his assistant Booger not be an asshole.
Yes.
He has to
rescue his brother's family from financial ruin.
And he has to learn family values or something? That one's not as clear.
Yeah, he specifically asks, like, hey, what do I have to do? And his dopey Sheldon Big Bang Theory Guardian Angel guy, what do we call him? Mormon Pee Wee Herman.
Mormon Pee Wee.
Mormon Pee Wee is like, oh, I can't tell you. This is more of a, you've got to figure it out as you go sort of thing. It's like,
they
great.
Didn't write it.
Well, because I would like to mention that later on he quotes himself again. This is an actual quote from the movie as to what his role is. He goes, I'm an observing guardian angel.
I'm just an observing guardian angel.
Which seems to be contrary to the guardian part. But,
and if he's just there to watch... Hang on, I'm not a theologian. Doesn't God have that handled? Maybe I'm wrong. I have cosmological questions about this movie.
I don't want you to ever say that he's just here to watch in this film that has Gary Busey on his hands and knees in a leather collar.
Oh, we'll get there. We will. Ilian, come on. We have to tease that part out. We're not there yet. We're not there yet.
So, okay, the point I'm getting at though, the first act is about this CD that we've been talking about, and it's up to Gary Busey to destroy the CD-ROM that tells his company to go fuck all of their employees and they can all go to hell.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes.
So that's the goal. Although it's not immediately or remotely clear, that is the goal they have set.
No,
Okay.
He's kind of supposed to destroy the CD to like free the other guy, the Dexter Perlman or something.
Pursley. He needed a slimier sounding name. So he needed a name that is as slimy as his face, and so they went with Pursley. Your tongue has to roll around the top of your mouth to say his name.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You can feel as slimy as his
what we call.
looks.
It's what's called a bad mouth feel.
It is a bad mouthfeel.
But they need to destroy it so that they can free him from the ghost of his former partner, boss, friend guy, and achieve his own goals for the company and get out of his shadow.
We need to free Dexter from the specter of Gary Busey, which honestly relatable.
I mean, that's fair, right?
To be freed from the
In order to do that,
Busey.
Gary Busey Quigley Dog sneaks back into technology company and is looking for the CD, but gets found out by
encounters his
Booger
nemesis
because he went to his desk and peed on it and knocked everything off the desk, I guess, just because Gary Busey's an asshole.
Gary Busey at first is just angry about things, so he just trashes the office and pees all over everything.
Busey Quigley, as we're calling him, or Bigley? No,
Bigley? Busey?
Quigley. Hang on, I have to lean into this. Quigley is hiding in the office, is hiding in his office as his partner Dexter comes in there and starts to just curse the unfeeling sky about what an asshole Gary Busey's character was.
Which is... I don't think that we're talking about Gary Busey's character. I think he was just going off about Gary Busey on set.
Yeah, he forgot the cameras were rolling, and they were like, let's just put this in. And so, as recompense for being insulted, Gary Busey Dog destroys the office and pees in Dexter's briefcase and whatnot.
Briefcase, which is empty anyway?
Yeah.
But we're introduced to a very important character, which is Nazi Janitor.
Yeah.
It's very important that we know about Nazi Janitor.
Well, hang on.
Drinks bleach and rubs piss.
I don't have any cause to believe that this janitor has any Nazi sympathies, but I do have cause to believe that the writers of this movie think that all Germans are that.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah.
That's definitely true.
Was los hier?
Is this guy speaking English?
I think he's German.
Einstuhl?
Yeah, he's German. But why?
He's...
It's Simlish German, is what it is.
God,
But
oh,
he's
shit.
so he wipes up the pee from the dog and is like cleaning it, and then he just stuffs the rag in his mouth, even though it's
what
full
the
of this
fuck?
even though it's full of pimp
Well, it's
cleaning
full of pee
solution.
and-
By the way, it's
and ultimate
Pimp's
pimp cleaning
solution
juice.
is what's on the
Yeah.
label, and he stuffs it in his mouth, and it's not played for laughs at all. That's just
It's just
done. He
gross.
just does it, and then it just cuts.
This is a man
Yeah,
who puts
it-
cleaning solvent in his mouth. You gotta dab it, man.
Oh!
Pee rag in his mouth.
Oh!
They didn't even play that for comedy. They didn't
No.
even do a joke out of that. He just
Even if he didn't know it was covered in pee, it was covered in cleaning solution. He's getting absolutely tore up at work.
Yeah, it's just done like that's normal. Like, oh yeah, no, all janitors just drink dog
Yeah, of
piss
course.
and cleaning solution, of course. And then him and all of the security personnel of the company chase Gary Busey dog all through the halls of this tech corporation for the next
You've
15,
missed an
20
important
minutes.
moment for a German
What did we
janitor. After he puts his roll cart back into the janitor closet, he then takes the cloth covered in cleaning solution and uses it to dab the sweat around his face.
Oh, he does that too.
Yeah, he does that.
true.
He's
He
he's
just kinda rubs all over
he's
it.
absolutely loco for this pine sol. Like he is
Yes.
he is
He loves it. Yeah.
Yeah, he is
Would you say he's for Loco for the Pine Sol?
he's a friend of Mr. Clean, is what I'm trying to tell you. Yeah.
So anyway, German janitor
German janitor.
goes after Quigley / Busey, and they go in and out of this janitor's closet / bathroom full of apple juice a couple times, which is not really important scenes. It's just kind of wasting time.
Yeah, there's these two security guards who are just bumbling ding-dongs, but they're used for like
But they're not interesting bumbling ding-dongs.
no,
That's
and they're
the
used for
problem.
like a third of the movie, and they don't have any actual jokes. They have
Yeah.
No. They're just, so they're also chasing down Quigley Dog, which kind of negates the whole purpose of the janitor who's also chasing Quigley Dog.
Yeah,
It's
that
very
whole plot
wild.
line kind of just went away at some
But there's
point.
a lot of little things in there that are really whack, like when they have Quigley Dog blockades the door to the janitor's
Oh,
closet
with the chair.
with this like very cheap folding plastic
Yeah.
chair. And you know how you prop a like chair against the door when it's got like a handle on it, like it,
yeah, you put a chair under a
it's
door handle.
doorknob. You can kind of do it that way, and you can kind of block the door. They have this cheap folding plastic chair that's gotta weigh half a pound at most, sideways, and on a door that has no handle.
It doesn't have a
it's just a
doorknob or
push
handle,
door.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no possible way it can be blocking this door at all, and they can't get in the closet because he's blockaded it, and it just really bothered me. There's all kinds of things like that. Like they have like a cameraman that just walks in front of the shot at one point. Like very obviously somebody working
Yeah.
on set just blocks the whole shot as they're in the middle of just having them close talk, and it's just like a shot of his chest as he walks through the scene holding a phone, and I'm just like, they just keep it in. It's just like, no, just keep rolling. Go ahead. So there's all kinds of things like that.
Perhaps that was meant to be an employee strolling by inside the janitor's closet. You don't know.
No. That was so obviously
Wait,
someone
hold on.
working on set.
Hold
My
on.
God. It was
Cam,
great.
I have a question. Do you think this movie was badly shot? This is a serious
I have
question.
a theory for this movie.
Hang
but
on.
We'll get to that when
Hang
we
on.
get to the
I've
end
been
of
I've
episode
been trapped on an island for a couple decades with nothing but skateboard videos to watch, and I've watched this movie and I think it's a cinematic masterpiece.
Wow.
But hang on, the guards do serve as a purpose, which is to serve as a antagonist for Sarah, the office worker woman, who is like the only character in this part of the movie who has her act together.
Right.
Yeah. So eventually, Quigley Dog shows her into his office and leads her to the CD, and he breaks it in front of her, and she's like, "Oh no, what did you do?" And then they decide, whatever, well, we'll just do a new presentation, and I am now freed from the ghost of bad Gary Busey.
In that instant, Dexter, who this character had previously said a few times, we're going to do exactly what Gary Busey character wanted to do. He has a name. It's Archie. I don't care. It's Gary Busey. Gary Busey plays Gary Busey in this movie.
He definitely doesn't play a character. That's
No. I don't think if he doesn't know his character's name, I can't be expected to. I'm sorry,
Are
Gary.
you suggesting that Gary Busey just has a pup fetish?
Yes.
He's not playing the character?
I mean, that's
Oh
why
my
he
God.
signed on, right?
How did we roll right past it? We talked around it, but after he pees on all that stuff, and that guy comes in and cleans the office, the guardian angel walks in on Gary Busey, and the guardian angel looks down at Gary Busey, and it's like, hey, why'd you do all that mean stuff? And then we get it. We get that shot. We get that high angle shot. We get that high angle shot looking down on...
I believe this is called the money shot?
The money shot, yeah.
It's really set up that way. It's that exact angle and everything.
I want my live reaction to it somewhere in here.
Oh,
he's-
like angry at his brother.
He's taking vengeance upon the stooge character.
I thought you were learning some self-control. Don't you feel some remorse or something?
Oh no.
Yes.
I picked up the keys.
I didn't know what I was in for, and we get this with looking down on Gary Busey, the man, in all fours, in a shirt that is not entirely buttoned, so that you can see the dog collar, the spiked dog collar. Why is it textured? It couldn't be just like a blue dog collar that you could buy from PetSmart. I couldn't.
No, it has to be a fetish leather one.
I couldn't.
Leather
I could
studded
not.
dog collar.
I couldn't go to Petco around the corner and get one of those. I would have to find it, and I wouldn't even find it at a pet store.
This is an extremerestraints.com collar, not a pet store collar. Thank you.
Oh man.
Yeah,
That's true, that's true. Well, after all of that, we've resolved the first part of the movie. We have broken the CD that said, fuck your employee.
Yeah, Dexter
And fixed the
instantaneously,
company, right?
with no pressure on himself, he's gone through no crucible. Like, Dexter should have been the main character to this act, and instead he was just a guy. A switch flips, and he's like, oh, I've learned to believe in myself now. We're free.
Yeah,
We're free from the
because
tyranny.
reasons.
We're free from the tyranny of the ghost of Gary Busey. I now believe in myself. And I couldn't have done it without you, Sarah. Hey, while we're at it, why don't we go out with each other? And Sarah's like, okay,
Yeah,
sure. That sounds great. What?
The dog breaks the CD, and the howling soul of Gary Busey escapes.
Which is the most romantic thing I can think of.
Yeah.
And then they decide that they're free, and you know,
The soul of Gary
Busey
Busey escapes from the CD and flies out the window with a
And this is where my theory came into play, because then I said, okay,
Yes, this makes a lot of
this is
sense.
so obviously, and it's so obvious. This was, the people that had worked on this had done a lot of TV, and they made this as 3 distinct TV episodes, and then smashed it together into a movie, because we are 30 minutes in, and this is resolved. He just walks out, and it's done, and we are, like, that's the end of it. I'm like, are we just not going back to this technology office? And yes, we basically don't for a very long time. Like, that whole storyline is resolved.
for an actual straight up hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it only comes back to tied in a different plot line. It's not actually, like, there's no more plot to be had here necessarily. It's just, like, all of the character arcs and stuff in this part are done. And
Yeah.
we don't see Janitor Man anymore. We don't see, like,
Nope.
security guys really
Nope.
anymore. Like, all of that is gone. It's
Nope.
just... That was a TV episode. It was just, that's it. It's 3 distinct TV episodes. I called it at this point. I'm like, this is a TV episode that they just made into a movie, and they did 3 of them. And
Yeah,
they smashed
I
it
thought
together.
the movie was over. At which point, I proclaimed this to be a very high concept retelling of the labors of Hercules. This is how Gary Busey, the dog, ascends to his full deityhood.
But that's not the end. Because
No.
episode 2 of Quigley,
Opens with a
Part
farting
2.
skunk.
it's a farting skunk. We also get Gary Busey, who doesn't know what to do, so he has to ask Mormon Pee-wee what his second thing is to do. And as he's walking through the park, which I assume is still the Japanese garden,
Yeah.
he just, like, falls into a bush mid-sentence, gets up, and they keep fucking rolling.
Yeah.
Keep it in. Listen, we have
that had
1 week
been
to
an
film
accident.
this movie, and we are not doing second takes, friend.
Nope.
We are not doing it twice.
Yeah. And normally I like to, we all make the, we make the joke.
Yeah.
Gary Busey is a sloppy person and he falls into things. Every other fall in this movie is clearly done in a separate take where it cuts, stunt guy comes in, falls flat on his face, cut back to the actor getting up with, like, makeup on their face to make them look dirty.
Correct.
No, this is Gary Busey falling into a bush.
Yeah, he just drunkenly fell into a bush mid-sentence.
Yeah. In a way that felt very familiar to me as a person.
On a deep personal level, I've been there.
Yeah.
But I like that the Guardian Angel has to explain to Gary Busey what his role is again. Do you think
Correct.
that he actually just needed to tell Gary Busey that? Like, this was
I
just...
think he needed to tell him his
This is
line.
out of character. He was just,
Yeah.
like, telling him, no, this is how the movie goes, Gary. Because Gary was very, very not into this.
I don't know.
So he gets told that he needs to save the brother's family.
You need to help
from
your
financial
family.
ruin.
Prevent them from falling into ruin.
Something, yeah.
Yeah, it's
And then
very
we get a
dark.
heart, and he goes, "Oh, okay." And then it gets a cut of a montage of the dog running around town.
Yep.
And then suddenly there's the farting skunk in the park, so that we can see the animal control guy.
We have our
And
new
the
villain,
animal
who's our
Yes.
second episode version of the German janitor.
Yes,
Correct.
it's the exact same character, but just a different person.
But an
playing
animal
it,
control
essentially,
person
like,
instead
as
of a
an animal
janitor.
control.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he runs down Gary Busey and chases him and then captures him. And we're told at that point that the Mormon Pee Wee Herman talks to God, who just responds only in thunder, by the way, in this
Yeah.
whole movie.
Denny, hold on.
Okay.
Denny, are you having a problem with the phrase Mormon Pee Wee Herman?
Like ethically? No, I
Okay.
no, oh, do you not? Are you wondering why I've been calling him a guardian angel instead of Mormon Pee Wee Herman?
Because you have a problem with this.
Because I'm referring to him as his role in the movie, not his style of dress, which we should say changes every single scene.
It's every fucking
Yes, that
scene.
is true. Every single scene.
Every scene he's in, he's wearing different clothes. And
It's his only angel power.
he
You've
looks
gotta let him
like
have it.
looks like Kenneth Parcell from 30 Rock. He looks like he walked on set from the 1950s. Like,
Yes.
it's like, hey kids, do you hear about all this hullabaloo going down in Atlanta?
We get told by this guardian angel as he's talking to God that he lost Gary Busey, and it's like, wait, what? But you just told him his role, and then there's a montage of him running around. Why did you not follow him or anything? It's just nonsense.
Because a dog catcher.
He looks up at the sky and he's like, I'm
Guardian
sorry.
angels can't follow dog catchers. What kind of...
I'm just a magical being who changes clothes in between every shot. I can't do anything to find Gary Busey as a dog whose legs are about 4 inches long. There's no way I could catch him.
Yeah, there's a lot of that in this film. Nobody can catch this Pomeranian that moves like at a slow trot at best throughout
For
this film.
for the sake of plot convenience, this dog moves. This dog has the ability to freeze time, run out of a room while everyone looks at it like the cover to Home Alone. Like, that's what's happening.
Gary Busey gets caught by the dog catcher, and then we get a very wonderful scene of Gary Busey on all fours again in a collar, but this time in a dog cage.
Which is just so much hotter.
Yes! Gary Busey in a cage! Gary Busey in a cage!
I'm drinking. I'm drinking and
Back
I'm
to
never
the Gary
stopping.
Busey fetish hour.
This isn't funny.
I had to take a break at this point.
Yeah,
It was
right.
getting
I had to
steamy
change
in
shirts.
here.
Yeah,
I
we
know
all
I had to
we
change shirts,
did have to
buddy.
pause the recording and excuse ourselves.
So
We are recording this on a Sunday. I did have to go up the street and go to church.
This is this is our version of church. You don't
I
understand.
I had to get on all fours and confess. And I have
Father, forgive me for I
yeah,
have
and
sinned
let me tell you,
many
Forgive me,
times.
for I have collared.
God told me to beg.
Oh man.
So Oz Perkins helps break him out of doggy jail
Yeah.
from this incompetent animal control person, which is the easiest thing possible because he just kind of lets them
Yeah, that
out
guy's
for no
incompetent.
reason. It doesn't
Real
make
talk.
any sense.
He also does the thing where he opens the gate and all the like multiple dogs run out, and he just freezes. And he's like, "What? Who could have expected? I wasn't expecting dogs to run on my job as a dog catcher."
Yeah,
but that's okay.
He just basically lets them out and just stands still and just watches them leave.
This
and then
is
we're done with that scene.
No. We're done with that character.
Yeah, that character.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. That plot's resolved. That's it. It's over. He
literally says, "No dog runs away from name of character," and then never see him again. He's
gone.
He swears an oath of enmity against this dog, and then he's gone.
I wish that they'd have brought him back for Act 3, Monty Python and the Holy Grail style.
Everyone shows up,
ends the movie, he just grabs Gary Busey and it just ends, rolls credits.
Yeah.
Sir not appearing in this film.
Yeah, but then Busey runs from storyline 1 to storyline 2. As a little girl, we don't know that this is his niece.
He literally runs away from the story and goes there, yeah.
No, we're all, you the listener, we are regarding you with information that we did not have when we were watching this. This movie was delirium. This movie was like Memento if it were shot by incompetent film directors and performed by incompetent actors.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so there's a girl that's playing in the street and a car coming. So this little Pomeranian tackles the girl and starts licking her face, tackles her out of the way of the car.
Yep.
Which is really creepy when you get into the whole, this is actually Gary Busey?
Because we already had a shot early in the movie where a woman reaches down to scratch behind the dog's ears, and then we get Gary Busey's face in a mirror as he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm super into this."
He's nutting because there's girls petting him. The Gary Busey loving pats was a thing that I actually wrote as a note. Yep. Because they make a very good point of him, like, enjoying it. But, yeah, so he tackles this little girl and is licking her face.
Yeah.
And then it's established eventually she takes the dog home, and it turns out that
at this point the can of Four Loko is upside down on top of my head. I'm punching my keys into the side of the can. I'm just trying to get through.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's the wife and kids of the brother of Gary Busey, and it's established that he has the hit game of 2003, a single screen of flash animation in which three animals scream, "Higher, higher, higher," over and over and over.
His brother
They're
is
not just saying higher. They're skipping rocks on a lake. That's the game.
No. You're giving it way too much credit. There are no skipping rocks. There are ripples of a skipping rock.
Oh yeah, there's no.
But there is no rock. There's not an actual rock.
Oh, it's such a bad game.
And this video game that Gary Busey's brother is supposedly a super turbo genius for creating, doesn't even make sense within the context of the movie. To say nothing of it not making sense in context of 2003, the year that gave us Beyond Good and Evil, this flash animation game that looks like a still frame from, oh God, what is that? Dragonland, Christian
Dragon
cartoon,
Quest,
Dragon Quest, or
oh yeah.
Dragon Tales. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh,
Dragon Tales was the Christian cartoon where a bunch of dragons solved problems. It looked like a single frame from that cartoon, but it doesn't make sense in the context of the movie because in the first act, the first 5 minutes of the movie, they're talking about a 3D virtual reality thing with 3 joysticks, which raises several questions for me about where the third joystick is supposed to go.
Well, that's an obvious answer considering the rest of the movie.
Yeah, you put on your virtual reality collar and put these. Grab firm hold of all these joysticks.
You'd have to be a super genius to make a virtual reality collar game. But, okay, the family is trying to find out who owns Quigley so they can give the dog back. Because they're a good Christian family and they can't just have a dog. So
no,
they put up a bunch of signs. Nobody calls. So the daughter, which is the girl that Quigley saved / Gary Busey, goes out looking to make sure that the posters are still up because obviously someone has to own this very good dog. And
Yes,
she just gets
and the
lost.
That's what the posters are. Yeah, the posters just
I
say,
guess.
really nice dog found, call number. That's
Yeah,
all it says.
we
Yeah,
found
there's
a
no
dog,
photo.
Call us, please.
We found a dog.
No
it says,
description,
we
no
found a
photo.
dog, very nice, 555, these numbers.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
so bad. But she gets lost in the woods near Stephen King's It, right?
Yeah, she
It has to be
wanders
in Maine.
into
She
a
walks to
drainage
Maine.
ditch.
And I want to make note here of the soundtrack, which is an original composition performed by Molly B.
Yeah. We get a montage song of "We'll do it together."
To a fisheye lens of Quigley
Yeah.
walking
Low
down the
angle
street.
fisheye
No,
skateboard shots
not
of
with
Quigley.
yet. This is just of her. No,
Oh,
first
yeah.
it's her walking around, and then it goes and then suddenly it has her going into the woods, and it becomes like really dark and
Yeah,
creepy and down
yeah.
key in the middle of the song. It's amazing.
Montage. God,
It's a
it's
montage.
angry.
Even Rocky had a montage. Oh god.
Is she gonna get hit by another car?
Oh, you were thinking car? I was thinking the pedophile angel would come out again.
Jesus.
It really bothers me that both of her shoes are untied.
At 2.
She's gonna
Where is she
pratfall.
going?
I remember I put a sign inside of this tunnel.
I was gonna say, she's like going into like a culvert.
This is like
Like,
Stephen
no-
King's
Hang on,
It.
what is this music?
happening?
Yeah.
The
What is this
music also became horror music, and it's dark now. What the fuck?
I'd like to point out this girl is like 12, so it's not like she should just be randomly getting lost in the woods. She's a competent enough little girl that she should be able to like walk to and from school, go to see friends. Like, she's not 6. She's older than that. So I don't understand that. But anyways, we go back to the family, and the mother finds out that the daughter is out and goes immediate full panic. She goes, "Oh my god, where's your sister?" And he goes, "She was going outside." And like most families do, when you hear that, you know, one of your kids is outside in your yard, she goes into full panic, screams, grabs the keys, phones the cops, races through the car, and it's like, what is going on? Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand. She's been gone for 5 minutes.
She is
and everybody
instantly
in full
inconsolable.
panic mode. Yes. Like,
Yeah.
oh god, she must be dead. She obviously is dead in a ditch somewhere. She's too stupid to survive on her own.
You can't
be
go
fair-
out there. There's Gary Busey out there.
To be fair, she wasn't far off from the situation. Like, let's be totally fair here.
Brian, where's your sister? I don't know. What do you mean she was just up here playing with you a few minutes ago, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Well, then where is she?
You go to fucking Narnia in 3
You went
minutes?
from
What happened?
0 to panic.
Yeah.
She went out. What do you mean she went out? Where?
She
When?
got a couple of her friends and went to smoke some doobies. It's whatever.
Yeah, leave me alone. I'm getting Gary Busey. They call the cops. They go everywhere. They get in a car, driving around looking for her. And it turns out Quigley found her and took her back. But that's only because the cops were incompetent and there wasn't a single scene of police brutality, which makes this whole movie completely bullshit.
No. Let's. I need to be fair here. The cops say that Quigley found her and brought her back, but the cops actually drive the girl home and the dog home. The cop just says, as he's returning the dog, "Oh, by the way, the dog found her and was leading her home. That's how we found her." And it's like,
Yeah.
wait, how did you determine that, sir? I would like an explanation as to how you saw a girl with her dog and immediately went, well, dog must have known everything and been leading the girl home. Because I feel like that requires some police work, actually.
Yeah, they were just driving around the block, and then they found the kid and the dog, and then they
Just somewhere,
yeah, then they relinquish all credit to the dog, which is fair because it was
Yeah, that's fair.
Gary Busey is really the hero here.
And like most of these movies, it was all resolved in 5-minute long montages of them walking around. These were all just montage scenes just to kind of stretch the time. Because like we said, the first 8 minutes had all of this plot just go boom, down onto our plate. So now they're realizing, oh crap, this movie is supposed to be at least an hour and 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
We need to extend it a bit, so let's have a lot of really long shots of the dog.
The searching montages and the scenes of the dog running towards the camera, which are pretty obviously cameras set at like a 40-degree angle from the sidewalk, and then someone sits off frame to the right of the sidewalk, and it's like, come here, Quigley, and then the dog runs toward the thing. They film that, slow it down by like 10%, and then flip the Y so they can show it twice.
Yep. There you go.
Yep.
Now we've got 10 minutes of extra movie. There you are.
Yeah, remember how at the beginning I had to stop everything and say, so much happened and it's only 8 minutes in? We're now an hour and 20 minutes into this movie.
Welcome to every movie that we've done.
I didn't know. I thought we were friends.
No, pacing of all
that's
of
why
these
we
movies
invited you.
whack.
This is an intervention. We are ending
This is like a roller. This is like a roller coaster that starts by going up, falling down, and then you go ting 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 for an hour.
And you never drop again. No, you never drop again.
You go
There's
ding,
no
ding, ding,
bass
ding,
drop
ding, ding,
at
and then
all.
you're back to the beginning. And you're like, well, I guess I'm gonna wait 10 minutes for pretzels now.
But the whole point of that was the second thing that Gary Busey had to do of his 3.
Saving his
which
family.
was to save this dumb child 2 times.
But then he's like, oh, I'm not done. I'm not done yet.
No,
How am I
he
supposed to
needs
save
do a
my
third
family?
Thing, which is get them out of Rune now and save them financially. So he steals. Is it a CD or a USB?
It's a
He
plastic.
steals
It's a plastic dog treat. He steals
a treat.
He steals a plastic toy with a dog treat in it and runs away. And that dog treat is supposed to have the video game on it.
The only copy.
Which Gary Busey's brother shouts, "It's my only copy!" to the audience. He basically looks directly in the lens and tells us it's his only copy because there's no other way to do exposition.
Which I love too, because of course that would mean that he had to write this program on his computer, burn it to disk, and then delete it. All of
he had
the
to get rid of
files
the
off
evidence.
his computer. I can't let anybody know I wrote this.
What an idiot!
No one can know the power I possess to create this one Flash cartoon with a choose-your-own-adventure menu screen.
Yeah. And we have a very wonderful scene in there. I want to go back though for just one scene.
For what?
Because it was great. Because we have him grab the CD as the little dog, like puts the CD into the CD tray and pushes it in, which is one
With
of the
his
best
nose,
things ever.
yeah.
And it very
the
obviously
dog
breaks the CD because it's not put in properly.
The
at
dog
all.
actor, the dog, Quigley the dog, does put a CD into the tray and then push it in with his little nose. And the CD is not set on the spindle or anything like that, but the tray closes. And so we're spared the sound of the CD thrashing around inside of the CD drive. Because
As he destroys the dreams of his brother,
Yes, because before Busey Dog steals the video game, he plays it. And we don't get... I wanted the shot of the little puppet dog paws on a Mad Catz controller playing this video game, but we don't get it. We don't get it.
Unfortunately, they don't give us that money shot. They only had to give us the other ones earlier.
Look, the only money shots we get are Busey on all fours.
And
we know that.
we do get that shot, but it comes too soon and not enough. We don't get enough... Oh my fucking god, I have to say
What
this
did you
sentence.
just say?
I'm
Finish it. Finish your sentence.
Finish it.
I know that I finished.
We don't get enough shots of Gary Busey in a collar on all fours in this movie. I would have liked this movie more. Hello, my name is Denny Dalliance. I am of sound mind and judgment as of the time of this recording, and I am disappointed with how little we got of Gary Busey in a collar on all fours in this movie.
Thank you.
And
that was very brave of you.
Is that clear? It's going to be entered into evidence.
He steals the CD and takes it back to Technology Corporation at Starfleet Academy and gives it to Booger.
I want to point out a really quick thing here, though, of the family chasing the dog down. So the family sees the dog grab the disc, and they're like, "Oh no, my life's work!" And they run after it, and he goes, "Get in the car!" Like, to chase down this Pomeranian that they are 2 feet away from at the start of it.
Yeah.
And this tiny little Pomeranian, and they get in their car, the whole family piles in, and they go barreling down the highway to chase this dog down.
The only explanation is they're out for blood. That dog's
Yeah.
that dog's seen too much. Like those are company secrets. Okay, like just because Gary Busey's brother isn't an incorporated entity or a sole proprietorship or an owner of an LLC doesn't mean that he doesn't have trade secrets. You got to kill that dog. You got to kill that dog.
Right.
You got to send that dog to heaven so it can get reincarnated as Gary Busey. It's the only way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They're running
yeah.
through Star Trek headquarters, and the wife looks to the husband and she goes, "What kind of a building are we in? What is this?" And they're like,
What is
"It
this
must be
place?"
some big technology building. Have you never seen a corporate office? It is just a corporate office. That's all it is. There's
doesn't-
nothing special about this building on the inside. It's just regular corporate offices, and they're acting like they're in some kind of high-tech future world. It is
Right.
wild.
Yeah, like, okay, well, Gary Busey's personal office does have statues of like Egyptian-style statues in it
Of
that are
espresso
like,
machines.
yeah, and an espresso machine that looks like it came from a steampunk convention. Like, there's a lot going on in Busey's office for, like, one shot, but we don't see that office again after the CD's destroyed.
That's true. To be fair, that is like the most accurate shot of a tech company CEO's
Oh
office.
my
That's
god,
true.
yeah.
They
Yeah,
actually
Right down to the phallic espresso machine.
he runs past a
Yeah.
bunch of ping pong tables with underpaid employees playing Halo for their designated 10 minutes a day.
Ooh.
Oh, sorry, I got too real again. My manager experience.
Booger gets the game, decides it's the best game he's ever played. Somehow,
We were gonna do virtual reality, but you discovered Flash animations.
the family breaks into the office to get the game back, and Booger's like, "This is the best game I've ever played. I'll offer you $500,000 for it, and an exclusivity contract that you have to sign right now, meaning that you will make games only for us, never be able to make a game for any other company before. And if you do, we'll sue your fucking ass."
And also, we're gonna need that advance back if you don't produce anything in the next 6 months.
And Christian Dad, which is Gary Busey's brother, says, "Well, that sounds great," and signs it on the spot.
Get a lawyer, you idiot!
We have all these characters assemble in this scene, like they're gathering around on a Christmas
Yeah.
stage play.
Yeah.
Because they are all in a semicircle facing the camera in this office. It's Dexter and Sarah and the family of Gary Busey and the dog on the desk as they're all like, wow, this dog really brought us all together.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Cameo of the two security guys coming back in again too, don't
Just
we?
because?
Yeah, they're just in the side. Well, this is their Avengers assemble moment. This is like their
Yeah.
climax of the film. All of these beloved characters that you saw for 10 seconds at various points and didn't give a shit about.
Whoa,
they've all
whoa.
come together.
We're
Wow.
dating the podcast. Spoilers for the latest Avengers movie. They assemble, and in a similar fashion, God damn it!
Go on.
In a similar fashion, they're all assembled around Gary Busey, the dog, who functions as Mjolnir in this scene.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, the dog who's able to tell if someone is or is not worthy of being saved by the Christian God of Abraham and Isaac, as was pretty obvious in the text of this film. They all gather around and they look at each other, and then we have our Mormon Pee-wee come in again. To
Yeah,
stand,
just awkwardly.
he runs into the middle of this scene, and at no point has it been established that anyone can even see this guy. It's no one talks to this guy until this
That's
scene,
true.
and yeah, no one interacts with him. It's not sure if he's invisible because the dog catcher guy walks right past him a couple times as he's like
Yeah, they're
trying
trying
and
to make
failing
it
to
seem
whistle.
Like he's supposed to be invisible, like he's only visible to Gary Busey. Kind
Until
of thing.
this
like he's some
scene.
kind of angel. And then in this scene, he's suddenly in the middle of this tech office, and he goes, "Oh no, that's actually my dog." They go, "Oh, like, well, where did this dog come from?" And he goes, "Oh, it's my dog. I was trying to chase you down because it's mine." So
Yeah,
thanks,
I
bye," and
followed
just
you on the
leaves.
highway on foot to this tech company.
And he's my best friend. Thank you so much for treating him so well.
And everyone just shrugs and goes, "Yep, sounds good." And then he just takes the dog and leaves.
He takes the dog, but then they have a conversation, which is extremely important. They're like, "Oh no, the dog's gone. I really like that dog. Oh, don't worry. Quigley had puppies, and there's 5 of them." Which means Gary Busey, at some point in all of this,
Boned down.
boned a dog as a dog, and then puppies were given within, like, a day? How did this happen? What was the
Yeah,
time
this
frame
movie
of
makes
this?
no bones about Gary Busey just being down to fuck. Oh, I forgot about that.
Okay,
I had blanked it.
The important reason why you forgot is because none of it fucking matters.
No.
And this whole
No.
thing was a goddamn dream, and Gary Busey wakes
Because
up in the
we are
hospital.
whisked away to heaven as we get another conversation in the Target Photo Center with these
That too, yeah.
with this absolutely beautiful horn of plenty of angels as they talk to Gary Busey about all the things he did kind of wrong while he was saving everyone's lives and livelihoods and making everything better for everyone. He was like, well, you also endangered people and caused a bit of a traffic jam, so
Yeah, you're kind of an asshole, Gary
you're
Busey.
going to hell.
Yeah, they yell at him, and at one point, I do want to point out at one point in this, they look at him and he goes, well, I'll get it right when I go back again, and they go, there are no second chances. In this movie, in which we have just watched him have a second chance for an hour and 10 minutes. I am so upset about
It's
that.
not the angels that say that. It's the voice of God. For the
it's literally
first,
God, yeah.
for the first time in this movie, we hear the Metatron, or perhaps Yahweh itself,
No, it's
issue a voice
Zordon.
that's Zordon issues Rangers. There is no second chance.
And then he just
Aye,
calls
aye,
Gary
aye.
Busey a piece of shit.
Yeah, you've lived a terrible life.
Yeah, and then it hard cuts
Yeah.
to Gary Busey waking up in the hospital.
Wait,
and
hang
it
on.
was
In this
all
scene
agreed.
where he's talking to the voice of the creator, he's wearing a collar again! There's no reason for him to be wearing a dog collar in heaven. He just didn't want to take it off.
I'm pretty sure he just wouldn't take it off on set. They're like, fuck it. Just keep rolling.
Every time we try to take it off of him, he starts to bite us.
Do you think this was a different movie, and then they decided to make Gary Busey a dog because he wouldn't take off the dog
They
collar?
must have, right?
No, I don't
Like, he just got...
I don't know. I
He
can't.
just got on all fours on one scene with a collar. Like, I don't fucking know. Just roll.
I can't get into this. I can't get into the headspace of the film creators. I can get into Gary Busey's headspace because I've drank an entire Four Loko in the past 90
Right.
minutes. But I can't get into the film creators' headspace because if this is supposed to be like a film about like there being no second chances and stuff like that, it's completely undercut by the fact that we jump from the Target Photo Center version of Heaven back into Busey in a hospital bed as he's like, oh, what was this? And then we learn the horrible truth. The truth beyond the truth.
That we watched the whole movie?
The movie was fake.
Oh my god!
You know,
It's all a trap.
It was
nothing happened.
nothing happened.
The whole movie is pointless. There's no
Yeah.
point to this movie.
It was all just like a Christmas past kind of.
You called it. You said it's a Super Mario 2. It was.
It is Super Mario 2.
It was a
for
dream.
sure.
It was a Jacob's Ladder scenario.
I need somebody to modify a ROM of Super Mario 2 and replace Mario at the end with Gary Busey's face.
With Gary Busey's blue face from the cover of this movie.
Yeah, that needs to happen.
As they go back to in the past, and he sees all of the sins that he did, and so now he goes around and corrects them in the last.
He decides
like, 5
to be
minutes
a
of the
good
film.
person. He gets Booger to stop being an asshole. He gives his employees a pay raise of $1.
He goes and reconnects with his family, which, by the way, the most true
They
life
are
scene.
terrified of him.
His family, when he goes to meet his brother and his brother's wife shield the children from Gary Busey, which
That
And the
wasn't-
children
they weren't
huddle.
acting.
Like, they are not acting. That's just their
the
real
actors
reaction
were
to
doing
Gary
that when
Busey.
Gary Busey got on set.
yeah,
That was normal.
I learned later in the IMD fun facts about this that they cut that section separately after Gary Busey walked off camera, and they turned to the lens and said, if you ever experience Gary Busey in your day-to-day life, shield your children. Remember, children are our future and shouldn't be exposed to Gary Busey.
I want to point out that is not a joke.
They hide.
That is very
They
serious.
shield. They're literally physically shielding the children from Gary Busey, and like the kids don't even know who he is. But they're like, "No, kids, get away! I don't want you to. I don't want you to catch a contact, Busey. Okay?"
Gary Busey shows up. The kids are scared. He says, "Hey, bro, I like your video game that you don't know I know about."
He's like,
and I'm
"What
gonna buy
video
it
game?
from
How do you know about this?"
And here's a puppy.
His name is
All right,
Quigley.
that's the movie.
The puppy's name is
Yeah.
Quigley. Why did
Yeah,
we?
they named the puppy quickly.
The puppy came from where?
His ass.
Where?
He just pulls it out from behind his back somehow.
He's not even in the scene where, like, continuity in the scene, where storytelling-wise, because it doesn't make any sense continuity in the scene either, because
that doesn't make sense too, because if the Quigley puppies happened in his dream, then why is there a real Quigley puppy?
And it's not the same dog as it's been through the rest of the movie. It's not the dog that he almost hit with his car and was in a car accident about, and entered into the Jacob's Ladder scenario. It's a different puppy named Quigley that manifested out of the Aether, which I can only presume is haunted by the spirit of a protagonist from a different shitty Christian movie.
It has to be.
He phones up Booger and tells him, destroy the CD, there's nothing good on it. Delete my browser history, please.
Yeah, delete my browser history.
Delete my browser history and throw my PC in the...
in the water. I don't need anybody to see that. No investors need to see it.
Underneath my desk, go find a neodymium magnet, rub it all over my hard drives.
It has all the photos of me in a collar.
And my fan fiction that I wrote about the time I was a dog.
Yeah.
Oh. So yeah, he gives the dog to the family and buys the game from his brother, saving them from financial ruin. And then it ends. That's the end of the movie. There you go. They hug, and that's the end.
That is Quigley. You've experienced Quigley with us here live on this podcast. So we're at the end of the podcast. That means we have to rate the dog in the movie. So I'm going to ask all of you here, or both of you, I guess, about Quigley. So, Cam, how would you rate Quigley the dog?
How will I wait Quigley?
How will you wait Quigley the dog?
How will I wait Quigley?
Oh, whoa! How would you wait Quigley?
I would give Quigley a 7 out of Gary Busey.
Really?
For this dog. This dog is actually... No. To be fair, this dog is incredibly cute. They have it, like, pushing a chair, although there's an obvious
Which is
hand.
pulled by a hand.
Yeah, there's a hand on screen pulling the chair.
Yes, like, so this dog does not do stunts well, but what it does really well is be very, very cute. They have a lot of really cute shots of this dog.
The dog is far and away the best actor in this movie.
Oh,
Denny.
Yeah, and it's so
How would you rate Quigley the dog?
I'm gonna give the dog 11 DUI convictions out of 10. Because I'm almost certain that this movie was done by Busey as part of a plea bargain.
I would rate Quigley the dog a 12 out of 10, because every scene it was in was adorable.
Oh, yeah. I did like that about this film, that it had a lot of shots of the dog. Like, you go in for a dog film, and unlike things like Air Bud 5, where it's mostly about the stupid family film, where it's just a family over and over and over and almost no dog, this movie is like 80% Quigley montage, which is, I can appreciate. At least we got a cute pupper.
Should we rate Gary Busey?
I don't think you can rate Gary Busey. Not using rational numbers?
Maybe irrational numbers, though.
I've heard of those imaginary numbers that might give us some mileage here.
Yeah. Ooh. I'm gonna give Busey I over pi. I'm gonna give him an imaginary number over an irrational number.
I would like to rate Gary Busey $1.99 per minute on my new pup 1-900 number.
That's the end of our podcast today, and I just want to say thanks, everybody, for listening to this wonderful episode. And this is an incredible movie, and I appreciate
this
you
very
sticking around
special
for the
episode of Rough Cuts.
This very special episode with our wonderful guest, Denny Dalliance. And I want to give a special shout-out to all the people that talk about us on social media like Twitter. People like Double Gear Sis, Ark and Black, Zuzagoon, Teddy Rass Games, Jables, and Arkham Archivist. Thank you so much for sharing out this podcast. We really do appreciate it. It's gotten a lot of legs and a lot of thank yous from the community, and I really do appreciate people that have shown how much they like this podcast, because it's been a lot of fun to make, and you sharing it out makes a big difference for us. So thank you for talking about it and sharing it out with people.
I give those supporters one leg up.
What are you, Chevy Chase? Look at the chassis on that lassie.
Sweet hell.
We need the crossover. We need the crossover of Karate Dog and
Quigley. Oh god, I don't know if you could stand Chevy
all these
Chase
movies
and
exist
Gary
in the
Busey on
same nightmarish universe.
Oh, I'm just imagining JoJo, his character, saying, "Look at the chassis on that lassie," at Gary Busey.
And Gary Busey as the dog. Thanks. Well, thanks for listening, everyone.
Would you like to rate this movie, boys?
Hell no. Thanks for listening to Rough Cuts. Thanks for listening to Rough Cuts. Thanks for listening to Rough Cuts. Good dogs and bad movies. It's a podcast